What's up? What's up? What is up? It's another Friday, another opportunity to record the experience that is known as the Ball Hog Sports Talk. It's two of the crew that is in the building today. We are here to discuss sports, business, and entertainment. We do it one way and one way only. That's rough, rugged, and raw. You know what it is. A few businessmen get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. It is the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Today's episode is going by the title of It's Not an Even Playing Field. You want to make sure that you pay close attention. We're going to have fun. It's summer grooving, baby. We are going to do it the way that we do it, and it's going to be classic like it always is. I ask you to do one thing only. Pull up a nice, comfortable chair. Pour you a nice, tall glass or mug or whatever, container of coffee. Spike it with whatever you want. It's a summer edition. It's not an even playing field. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk coming to you. So let's go.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go.
But it is what it ain't, baby. It is summer. We are rocking and rolling, man. It's officially summer. I think the solar solstice is tomorrow. We're getting to that point where it's long, long days and the heat is consuming us all. So how dare we not bring the heat today? In the building, you know who you got. You have the man, the myth, the legend, who shall be intergalactically known and respected as. Say it with your chest. The Big Flow Show is in the building. What's up with you, my brother?
What it do? What it do?
You know what it is, man. It's summertime, man. It's summertime. So I've gotten a lot of text messages about, hey, man, y'all should talk about this. You should talk about that. Anytime we do one of those off weeks where we take one of those mental health Fridays, I get texts saying, where y'all at, man? I missed the show. And so I want to say thank you to those who continue to support us. And I want to say to those same people, this ain't going to cost you nothing. I'm talking about nothing. It's completely free. We need you to like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast so more people can get some of this good old content. And with that, man, we got to hop in. We got to hop in because there's so many good things to discuss this week. Normally, this is the lull time of the year because the Mavericks was out there tripping. The NBA is done. Because of the way the schedule is set up, the NFL is not yet underway. And while here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk, we have been advocates for the WNBA for a long time, the general sports fan traditionally has not really supported the WNBA over the summer. Even the UFL championship has come and gone. This has been a lull.
You know, you bring that up. What a poor job they're doing of advertising that. I mean, they couldn't do a worse job. When you start looking at how the WNBA, you know, this is one of those things that kind of puts the WNBA and women's NCAA basketball. I gotta say they're doing right because America loves football, don't you think?
Loves football. It's the one thing that is unique to us. It's as American as American pie. So we love it because it's ours. We own it.
As yes. Apple pie, because I'd like to know what flavor is American pie, but I guess
did I say American pie? Or that's the show?
You did say American pie. So you got Bandcamp on your mind.
Great movie. Great movie.
So great movie. Most of them at least. You know, but it's interesting to me. Like, I don't know why they don't publicize the football more. It's good football if you watch it, but I never know it's on. I've never seen a commercial for it that I can think of. There's no publicity. All of a sudden, it's just the championship. And shout out to Skip Holtz for winning another championship. You know, he
Facts.
did his thing. Out there, did it back-to-back years. He spent the season with us at Northwestern. We appreciate that. You know, only man,
Skip Holtz was there. I didn't realize that.
only man to coach me and my son together. Skip
Oh,
Holtz.
that's dope. I got to go to the Holtz Hero golf outing. Speaking of Holtz, and unfortunately, he was not able to make it. He had a last minute situation would not allow him to make it. But it was good to see a lot of those brothers, former Notre Dame guys, man. So wanted to shout out Coach Holtz, man. It is on the other side of Father's Day, and we've had our run-ins, but still my coach. That's my coach, man.
I gotta ask you something that's just bothering me. Is get out of my chest. I just need to ask you this. Do you think are you a Stephen A. Smith fan or no?
I am a Stephen A. Smith fan to the tune of I like the fact that this brother was able to build a career in broadcasting and journalism.
Okay, I don't care for the man, but I understand.
Black men. That's why I ain't do it. Come on, man. We fresh off the heels of Juneteenth.
That's fantastic. You know what though?
No,
I don't hate the man. I'm just not a fan.
No fan.
I don't want to expose your paycheck, but do you think he's $18 million a year better than you are at this? Because I don't think he's better than me. But not to expose your stuff, I don't want people to do the simple math. But ESPN offered him $18 million a year to extend his contract. I know. I like personally, I like doing this show, but I'm available. Like I consider myself available. You know, like
available.
A woman will say she's single, even though she's got a boyfriend. She's not married, but she'll say she's single because she's technically available because she's pursuing the job of wife. And I would want ESPN. I don't want them to think that I'm otherwise contractually obligated to anything. But $18 million, he's not $18 million better than me. Again,
I would agree with you there, sir. I would agree with you there, sir. But I also have to point out it's not an even playing field.
It's not even.
Go with this episode's title. He's got a bigger platform for now. But if our audience does what we ask them to do every week, and it doesn't cost them anything, like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone you know. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. We right there behind you, Stephen A. You got us by 18 million now, but we catching up. More importantly, we making some good stuff.
We don't shop at the same stores, my man. I guess.
Yesterday, to start us off, Ryan Garcia, who was found guilty of taking Osterin, I think that's how you pronounce the substance that he was popped for, and now came up with, by way of agreement, so he doesn't have to face the procedural aspects of it. They came up with an agreement. He settled 1 year ban. 1 year ban. And when he was banned officially yesterday, his opponent in the last fight, Devin Haney, who at the time was, I think, ranked number 6 on the pound for pound list, was I think a 900-point favor. He was negative 900 to win the fight, Devin Haney, and got dropped. Devin Haney said this, and it sparked the discussion between you and I, inspired the title for this show, Not an Even Playing Field. He said this. This is Devin Haney after Ryan Garcia accepts a 1 year ban for the Osterin that was discovered in his urine sample. Devin Haney goes on ESPN and says, I want to thank the commission and the fans who stood by me during this whole process. The facts are the facts, and I wasn't on an even playing field. Happy I was able to receive justice for what happened. It's all part of my story, and it's going to make me better. I look to enjoy this time with my family and friends and see what's next. He goes on to talk about how he's a clean boxer. The sport is brutal. You risk your life, and that he wants to be an advocate for clean athletes in the sport. He also makes it very clear that he's not interested in necessarily stepping back in that ring with Ryan Garcia when the 1 year ban has been served. So I tee that up to ask this. He says not on an even playing field. But people who put a bet on the fight also were not on an even playing field. Do you think If I bet Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney was a minus 900 favorite to win, do you think I should get my money back? It was switched to a no contest. Technically, Devin Haney is still undefeated. We watched him get dropped, but he's technically undefeated. Vegas is still undefeated if they don't have to undo this. And most of the tickets have fine print and say something to the effect of whoever is announced winner in the ring. They try to protect themselves. But fair being fair, do you think people should get their money back if they bet on the Ryan Garcia side of the ticket?
You know, that's a tough call. You know, I thought about this.
They bet for Devin Haney. Go ahead.
I think it was the Super Bowl where there's a bet. Will there be a streaker at the Super Bowl? And that one guy bet on it. He bet that there'd be a streaker, and he knew that for a fact because he was planning to streak. And he figured out how much he would get fined if he streaked, and he bet so that he won enough money to do it. They had to pay him, right? So, you know, if you could get the outcome. Now, I wonder, like, can Bill Belichick bet that he's going to wear a sweatshirt? or you know, they had those weird bets, those prop bets of what he's going to wear. So I don't know. It's tough call on Vegas. It's tough. I feel bad because I mean, think about people tore their ticket up, threw the ticket away. You know what I mean? Never, you know, they lost the bet. They figured they were pissed off, and then they threw it on the ground and they walked away. So, like, how do you go back and handle all those bets? Should there be a class action suit against Garcia? Could they win on that? Could you come back and get him for that? I don't know. It's a tough call. It's a real tough call.
Of the 1.2 disclosed purse, he had to pay a $1 million fine. There's a lot of undisclosed revenue generated income that comes by way of a boxer at those fights. And so he's also fined another $10,000. His career and the reputation is going to have a stain on it indefinitely. But I asked this before we move on, because in the land of boxing, while all of those technicalities are what they are, it's either you win or you lose. Do you think Devin Haney should fight Ryan Garcia again? Because if not, Devin Haney, how do you say with a straight face that you've earned the right to go fight people that were above you on that pound for pound ranking list, people that we thought you were going to be in line to fight if and when we assumed you were to beat Ryan Garcia, right? You watched Tank Davis fight last night, and Devin Haney, in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And while the man in this case, Ryan Garcia, who came out with the dub, does so with a black eye, pun intended, because of the urine sample, he still beat you. Do you think Devin Haney needs to at least go through the Ryan Garcia gauntlet, a clean Ryan Garcia, before moving on with his career? Because a no contest is what it is on paper, but my eyes cannot unsee what it saw.
There's a small part of my brain that says, why should I give you another chance of redemption when you cheated? Small part of my brain, right? But the larger part of my brain that's more intelligent, the one that's like right here, this right around this part of my head says, Haney must feel like those steroids had nothing to do with that dub, right? Because most people want their lick back. Most competitors want their lick back, right?
Right, and you know he's going to be clean the second time.
You got to be clean the second time. He's going to be drug testing all. You can put all kind of stipulations, make him drug test the whole way. You probably could even get him on some, hydration rules and stuff. You probably could get real tough because he needs to fight more than you do, right, to come back.
Right.
But it's a payday for you. You know a lot of people are going to watch it. I just think you really have to be feeling like that dude whooped my ass to not want that smoke again. He trying to pass you the joint, and you say, I don't want no smoke. I don't mess around. I don't mess around. I'm trying to quit because you would just want to prove you just got beat up bad. You want to go beat this dude's ass and show everybody at a fair fight I will whoop his ass. And for you to say, I don't want to do this, I don't know, he put me in danger, you're mad, that's soft to me. Again, a little part of my brain, the tiny part of my brain says, you don't deserve the chance. I wish I would hear you talk like that. So why would I give this dude a chance to redeem himself? If you talk like that, but he's not saying, he said like real soft, real moist comments like,
oh, that's self-righteous. Oh, they're very self-righteous. He sound like, Dr. Umar up there. He is getting real preachy about things. And in the ring, it is what it is. So we shall see. I'll give you last word on it before we move on. But it has sparked this title. It has sparked this show. Because he said we're not on an even playing field. We were not on an even playing field. That's the only reason that he lost. We are.
So go prove that. That's what I said. Go prove it.
Prove it.
Equal the playing field. Go whoop his ass. You're going to get a huge payday for it. Huge. Everyone will want to see that.
Everybody does want to see it.
Yeah, everyone wants to see it. So go make your money. Maybe that's not your next fight. Maybe you want to make sure you get another. You got a year, so maybe you get another fight in there. Do well on that. But everybody wants to see that fight.
No one's gonna line him up for a big fight under these circumstances. You don't deserve to fight one of the premier names in boxing and come home.
And he doesn't. You're saying?
Right now, no, you went off a technicality, man. And while
but he lost off cheating,
it got switched to a no contest. You're still undefeated because of a technicality.
That's tough, though. I mean, if I read the Austrian, so it's kind of, I guess it's like a steroid. It makes your muscles grow. I don't know. Sometimes I say, well, if it was only trace amounts that were in there, I guess if he was doing it all during camp and then he just kind of purged the system as much as possible, whatever. But, theoretically cheated. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like getting accused of a crime and getting found not guilty. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't do it. Just because you got accused, you didn't beat me. So my record needs to go back to what it was before the fight. He should get a. You say that he should. If you got beat by a cheater, you shouldn't get an opportunity that you would be otherwise have gotten. He didn't beat him, but damn.
Or
do you think that you should be able to cheat as a cheater?
It is what it is, man. You either won or you didn't, and he didn't. It got switched to a no contest, but that chin looked a little weak in there, man. It looked a little weak in there. Looked a little weak in there. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I think he should still get an opportunity. I think he just it came off your record, the opportunity. The market will tell you if you're worth the money. When you start trying to ask for the big purse, they're gonna say we didn't.
And a big fight. I don't think anyone's gonna take him serious. Like, you can't just pick up the phone and call. So, like, you're not a contender right now. You're damaged goods with
so then you're saying
a record that has been protected by someone's goods who are more damaged.
So you agree with me? He needs to go fix that and fight Garcia then.
Yeah, he needs a tune-up fight. He needs a tune-up fight. And not only that, you're saying a tune-up fight, and I think we're both coming to the same conclusion, to ultimately fight Ryan Garcia again. A clean Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. Agreed.
So we shall see. I did want to at least touch on this because while we don't deal with soccer a lot, COPA America, COPA America it features 10 teams. For those who aren't into this football, we talked about American football being just as American as American pie or apple pie. There's another football that is celebrated across the world that undeniably is considered the biggest sport in the world. And it has these championships, different continents. And for the Americas, they have COPA America. It features 10 teams comprised of these different federations. And it has 6 teams from the Western Hemisphere. It's the oldest continental soccer tournament in the world. First played in 1916. And last night or yesterday, there was a game between the COPA America game between Argentina and Canada. The Argentinian team, which features Messi, of course, complained about the field situation in Atlanta. It's being played on American soil. They talked about the field, an uneven playing field, felt hollow at times. And it reminded me, while Argentina and their players have an absolute right to complain, it reminded me just how far behind that we are when it comes to football, soccer. Here it is with the biggest stage that we have in this country when it comes to soccer, and we can't even get the field right. This is why the rest of the world thinks that we don't get it, the significance of the sport. The number of eyes that are on the sport, the number of people that took off yesterday to watch the different championship games. The pitch, as they call it, we don't even call it the pitch. The pitch being in disarray says what about America as it pertains to soccer?
Trying to do too much. I think they only replaced the field like 4 days before. I'm not sure what the problem was, and they did something wrong. I just think they try to do too much. We try to do too much with the fields, and there's certain fields that you go play with. My son went and played in Ireland, and like there's 2 stadiums in Ireland that they played at, and like one of them only allows Irish football. There's like some sport that's just played in Ireland. I can't remember what they call it, but my point is some of these countries find things to be more sacred. We're all about the dollar. So we're multi-purpose using the stadium. They, I think Atlanta has turf typically, right? Field turf. I mean, yeah.
I think so. Field turf. I think they're playing in a bunch of NFL stadiums. They're playing in Atlanta, as we know. That was yesterday's game. Miami, Dallas, Houston, San Fran, LA, New York, Vegas, Arizona, Kansas City. I think those are the.
But we do too much. I wouldn't say too much. We're business first. They just had the Olympic trials in the Indianapolis Colts Stadium. They put a brand new pool in there, like 2 pools in there. They have ice that they'll bring in there. They'll bring in a concert stage, whatever. I don't think around the world people do that. I think that's sacred. This is for soccer, and this is not something that you're going to come in here and mess around with. So we just try to do too much and sneak a game in there real quick, and they complained about it. But tickets still sold. Nobody cares.
70,000 people attended the game last night.
Yeah.
70,000. So whatever they're doing, I gotta admit,
the team can play still 1-2-0.
And we're talking about the field, the actual field, but the playing field in terms of soccer, the rest of the world versus America, we're still not on an even playing field. And I think that shows that because you would never put the Super Bowl, which is the creme de la creme of sports entertainment in this country, you would never put it on a subpar playing surface. No. And here's COPA America, which for the soccer world and what's going on around the world, the respective continents and their respective championships, this is the creme de la creme of championships. You shouldn't have put it on a subpar field.
Yeah, thanks.
We ain't there yet. But because it included Canada, it reminded me of another event that happened yesterday. That's right. My man Kendrick Lamar is still at it. He had this pop-out concert that was both a reminder of the beef that was between him and the Canadian sensation Drake, and a unification of the West.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of, I wanted to make sure that we talked about it because it is what it is when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, and it's not on an even playing field, man. He's still fighting. He's still throwing bombs at my man Drake. Drake had to be somewhere. If you didn't hear about it, it was shown on Amazon. It was in LA. 17,000 people sold out. It was a historic moment in hip hop. And wait a minute, I might as well show it. I might as well show parts of it. It was a historic moment in hip hop. Let me make sure I show it. But it showed just how far music has gone beyond the traditional pastime groups of hip hop. Black, white, old, young, all are in an arena rocking out. I mean, really doing their thing, rocking out to the music that is a diss track or several diss tracks. They played the infamous They Not Like Us that is taking over the charts. They played it 5 times. 5 times. And I still like Drake. But the torture chamber, let me see if I can find it. The torture chamber is getting a little bit interesting, man. Is it over? Do you think it's over? And maybe Drake, as we know him, will never be the same as I try to find the video?
I'm over it. I didn't realize they were still going. At some point, you got to stop. You know what I mean? Go sit down someplace. But I guess for those who live and die by the rap beef and who are involved, that no. So you're saying right now Drake's behind on the scorecards?
To say the least. I mean, he's far behind. It's not an even playing field.
Yeah, it's kind of like that game.
I thought lyrically Drake was giving us some good content. I thought philosophically he inspired Kendrick to come out with that many songs in that small amount of time. We've been waiting on a Kendrick Lamar album, it seems like forever. And I thought more on a macro level, hip hop won. But if I'm at the scorers table or I'm looking at the scoring cards, it don't even matter anymore because Kendrick Lamar is mobilizing hip hop. He mobilized the entire West. It doesn't seem to be an even playing field right now.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I had stopped paying attention, to be honest with you. I didn't know. I got bills to pay, so I wasn't really on it like that. But I didn't realize he was beating them that much. Last time I checked the score, I thought Drake was up by a touchdown, but that must have been a couple.
Because you were listening to the songs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, to mobilize the entire hip hop nation, I mean, he's done more in a very small amount of time with just that one song. And if I can find this doggone video.
We might give up on finding that video.
No, I got it. Where's that? Right there. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, but it just seems as though when I look at what Drake is done, in response, I thought lyrically he was fine, but that doesn't matter all the time. I just found it. Here we go. Because that moment last night was a moment. It was a moment and then some when you look at what he was able to do. Let me get it rocking and rolling. Yeah.
Scroll.
Here we go.
It's nice to see Westbrook in man clothes.
This is a diss track. There's 17,000 people and they're rocking. Dr. Dre introduced this. He played it 5 times back to back. That is Russell Westbrook, and then DeMar DeRozan is on the stage as well. LeBron James took his wife Savannah to this concert that was shown on Amazon.
I love that they're just on the stage, huh?
They're talking about one human.
Is that Kendrick right there?
I mean, have we got to the point of no return? Is it over for my man Drake? When they've got a whole concert,
Ryan Garcia will be back. Drake will be back.
You think so?
Drake. Maybe it's time to take some of that Osterin. Maybe that Osterin gets you right. I don't think they drug test in the rap game. Maybe you should get some of that Osterin in you. It builds muscle. They say it builds muscle. It tells the muscles to grow. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe
the pop-out concert.
Do we need performance-enhancing drugs in hip-hop? I'm wondering. Should there be drug testing in hip-hop?
I saw some interesting dialogue because, look, it's the Ball Hawk Sports Show where sports business and entertainment collide, and we like competition. We like the fact that the same music that the players are listening to comes full circle, and here it is, an absolutely certain Hall of Famer, NBA Hall of Famer, right? Top 75 of all time, is on the stage, basically crip walking to a diss song on Drake's name.
Questions.
The undeniable player that's in the top 5, LeBron James, see what I did there, is there with his wife. Now, people were wondering why LeBron didn't make it up on the stage. I think Savannah's like, you're not embarrassing me out here. You ain't getting up on that stage. But to play it 5 times, to have Dr. Dre stop and give the introduction. I think I see dead people. I don't know, man. We might be pulling out our shovels trying to dig Drake up out the ground. He's 6 feet deep now, man. And I thought lyrically it was comparable, but I'm in a really small room right now that is even you and I both are in a small room that's even giving Drake any credit for what went on. When you have a 17,000 person arena sold out, and people are calling you the Tupac of the generation. Because in addition to that, you saw a bunch of gang members from Bloods and Crips on the stage. It's a unification event, One West, that Kendrick has led by way of these diss tracks inspired by Drake. I don't feel like they're on the same playing field no more, man. I just got to give it up. Go ahead, Kendrick. Look, brother, whatever it is. And J. Cole's got to be somewhere just laughing because he averted all collateral damage by getting about that thing. We were mad when he white flagged it, but J. Cole might be the winner in all of this. No longer even playing field. I got to give the victory to Kendrick Lamar, the movement that he has sparked, the music that he created, the diss song that is now officially in the same realm as Ether, whether you want to admit it or not, with how many people are banging that track. Every time you hear it, you bob your head. Every time you hear it, you turn it up at least 3-4 decibels. We're going to hear it for the next several months ad nauseum. Every team is going to go out to this song. Every hip-hop inspired.
You know it's going to be bad at the end of the football season or basketball season. People's highlight tapes are going to use this track a lot.
They're going to use this track, a diss track.
Because you got that catchy phrase. You don't even have to hear the verse. We're just going to play that. Dun, 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 like
I'll accept your apology because you're like, man, you really on that song that one day. That
you did like it. You did like it a whole lot. To be in your 40s, I say to be in your 40s, you were a little more excited about a track than maybe supposed to be. But it does kind of.
It grew on you, didn't it?
It does. It gets you a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's decent. That's decent. But I'm in my 50s, so I guess time to.
Hey, he had the entire West, Ice Cube, and everybody. I just made that up. I don't know if Ice Cube was there, but he had the entire West.
You don't know that he wasn't, so
I don't know that he wasn't. Yeah. I would be surprised that he wasn't at this point, right? You got NBA greats, arguably one of the greatest in LeBron James, singing to the top of their lungs a diss track. It's gonna be tough to come back from that, Drake. Good luck.
You're on the clock.
You on the clock. You need a response quickly. But it did allow me to get to another situation. Because while they were in LA and while LeBron was in the audience, we are now faced with a different situation because the Celtics won it all. With the Celtics winning it all, they took a step ahead of the Lakers as being the all-time winningest franchise in terms of championships. Mm-hmm. For the longest, they were tied at 17 because the global championship does count. We talked about 17. And now the Celtics have stepped forward and they are no longer on an even playing field. The Celtics have 18. But if you look at the East Coast franchise Celtics and where they are with a young coach, 2 young superstars, a roster that was built to win now, and you compare that to the other storied franchise, the LA Lakers, that are stuck at 17 championships. They have 2 older superstars, both top 75, but now they don't have a coach yet again. They're not on even playing fields. Just how bad is the situation for the Lakers when it looks like JJ Redick is going to be called out of the booth to take over as the head coach? When you've got Dan Hurley who passed up the job, when you've got a situation where the most coveted coaching position in the NBA seems to be something that is sparking musical chairs and people are trying to stay away from that seat. Where are the Lakers? Just how far have the mighty fallen when your top head coaching prospect is JJ Redick, who has the same number of head coaching games under his belt as you and I? Matter of fact, I got more. I coach AAU sometimes. Where are the Lakers if they are about to hire JJ Redick out of the booth? What say you, Mr. Lakers fan? I know you're a LeBron fan, but
here's a problem I have right now with the Lakers. The Lakers got gentlemen swept by a team that got gentlemen swept by a team that got gentlemen swept that got gentlemen swept by a team that got gentlemen swept. I may have added one, I may have left one out. So they're not the man sitting next to the man sitting next to the man sitting next to the man. I mean, you like to lose when you lose in a tournament. You like to see the team that beat you go win it all, right? Or at least get to the championship game. So maybe you don't want to see them win because
that's a little bit of a moral victory, absolutely.
But you feel like, okay, I just had a bad draw. They didn't even have a bad draw. You know what I mean? They lost to Denver. Denver got beat by Minnesota. Minnesota got smashed by Dallas, and Dallas gets smashed by the Celtics. It's like, so there's some rebuilding that needs to go along. I brought this argument up to a friend, and he, is a big Laker fan, so he was offended to his core and fought it and said that I'm crazy and you can't look at it that way. But how do you not at least look at it that way a little bit, right? Like, I don't know. Because you start thinking the Lakers had to play the Celtics, that they got beaten 3, right? They would have just stopped at the third game and said, "This is good enough. We straight. Come on, everybody, let's go." So I don't know. Lakers got some work to do. I don't know this. I need.
Do you like the hire pick? JJ Redick being the head coach. JJ Redick did a phenomenal job in his very short tenure as a journalist. He has some hot takes. I think because he's a point guard and he played a very specialized role, he was able to talk about nuances of the game that not every analyst can discuss. He was able to get some riveting interviews with players like, drum roll please, LeBron James. But does that qualify you to be the head coach of the LA Lakers, which is now the second best franchise in the NBA with 17 championships?
So, okay, on the surface, it's like, no, this is his first time doing it. I kind of like JJ Redick. I feel like he was bold enough to say some things people wouldn't say. So as an analyst, I liked him. I don't, I'm sure there's probably some quote somebody could put up that I would disagree with or whatever. But in general, I like kind of how he conducted himself. It's something to LeBron, though, and I just got to be honest. Like, I always try to keep it real. There's something to him. Like, he always keeps getting these rookie coaches. I don't think he's coachable with the veteran coach. Otherwise, by now, somebody would have went out and got somebody for him. All these teams, they're paying him, they're doing whatever, and he's got so much power. There's a reason why Hurley turned the job down. There had to be something.
You think that LeBron had something to do with that? That's interesting.
Why would he turn the job down? I mean, it's a great opportunity for him to come out there and do something great. He had to look at it and say, I can't work with LeBron. That's the only thing I could think of, and I'm a LeBron fan. Everybody knows it. But there has to be something to it that you can only get. He keeps getting these guys that the job is an unbelievable, first-time opportunity or, they're not qualified for it. There's got to be something about the way LeBron operates that.
What is this? This is the third coach he had? Because he had Frank Vogel, Darwin Ham, and now JJ Redick, right? Is this the third LA Lakers coach since LeBron has been?
I believe so. And I mean, think about how many coaches he's had everywhere else. I mean, he's played for a lot of people. Spoelstra's the only one that's really seemed to do something. What's the guy's the Brown or something? He had I don't know. He just gets
Mike Brown. He had Ty Lue. Obviously, he had
Ty Lue was a coach before LeBron, though. That wasn't his first gig. Was it?
Say that again.
That wasn't Ty Lue's first gig, though.
You're saying? Actually, I think it was, but in Cleveland. But regardless,
so he had Ty Lue in Cleveland, and then he had him again in the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Ty Lue went to the Clippers.
What?
The fact they talked about Ty Lue being the head coach of the Lakers and being one of the people that they should interview for this. Here's what I'm asking bluntly.
Who turns down a Laker job, buddy?
Well, now you got at least 2 people that have turned it down.
Something's got to be something to that, man. I got to be honest. It's got to be something to it, man. You get a chance to coach one of the best players ever at the Lakers, and you're like, I'm good. Hurley's like, I'm good. I'm just going to stay over here.
Here's, and I'll present this. Brian Windhorst, who has made a career off of following LeBron, had some interesting stuff to say when it came to JJ Redick. So I'll ask you frankly, do you think he's qualified to be the coach before I play that? Do you think JJ Redick being hired as the LA Lakers coach in this moment with the circumstances the way they are, do you think this is going to end well for the Lakers and essentially LeBron's legacy as it pertains to the Lakers? How do you think this ends?
It's okay. So it's hard. I keep going back and forth, racking my brain. JJ Redick was a front runner about 3 weeks ago, and then he wasn't. And then they came back and got him. That's just a bad look, right? If they were going to hire the guy, I guarantee it wasn't about money, and I guarantee he didn't say he wasn't interested. They talked about him being the next coach, and then he wasn't. And then they went to get Hurley, and then when Hurley didn't want it, they went back to him to get a head coach. Seems like a desperate move to me by the Lakers. You know, I hope he does well. You know, I don't have any problem with him as a person. I don't think that, there's been other people that have gotten opportunities to coach that didn't deserve it because they don't have the tenure to be a head coach or whatever. But, I don't know. Monty Williams is available, but they could have got somebody.
We're going to get to Monty, but let's go here first. All right, let's go here first. Breaking news. Let's see what it says.
Breaking news right here. ESPN sources, JJ Redick has signed on a 4-year contract to become the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Rob Pelinka offered the job this morning, and Redick started working on a staff to surround himself with experience. So that breaking news, of course, we know the relationship that JJ has with LeBron. Of course, LeBron James, not at all a part of the head coaching process, hiring process necessarily. But Perk, what is your reaction to the fact that JJ is now officially the Los Angeles Lakers' next head coach?
I want to make sure I stop it there because I would have preferred to get the Brian Windhorst take. That was a breaking news. We get into a new point in our doggone Ball Hog Sports Talk world when we have breaking news. So now it's official. It don't have to be a hypothetical. It's official. You hear that and you think what?
I think they're desperate. Like I just mentioned, I kind of finished off. I think there was a desperate move by the Lakers. I think that they had an opportunity to hire him 3 weeks ago and they didn't. And then they went away. I mean, we all heard about it. So now that they've hired him, you know that it must have been true, right? Unless you're saying that the media gave them the idea to hire JJ Redick. So I believe they had an opportunity. They didn't want to do it. And then they had to come back to him because they couldn't get who they wanted to get. So it's a desperate move. I think LeBron should get traded. I think he should go. LeBron should go to Dallas.
Go to Dallas? All right. So let me bring it in with the Brian Windhorst thing. And then, we still got the question as to whether or not Bronny James, who's only worked out for 2 teams, the Lakers being one of them. You still got the question whether or not Bronny James is both qualified to be an NBA point guard and whether or not it would be a amazing sports story if LeBron got to play with his son. You still got that looming. But Brian Windhorst had this to say.
JJ, we know, is a tremendous player, and we obviously know he understands the game. This isn't a training wheels gig. It's the Lakers. I just am curious your reaction to the hire.
This is a high-risk, high-reward move by the Lakers, no doubt. It's almost like taking a swing in the draft if you're sort of drafting late on the best athlete in the draft because you just know that he'll be able to figure it out because you believe he's got the tools. When you hire a first-time head coach, I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care if you're expected to finish last or first. You're admitting that you're going to have to live with mistakes. JJ Redick will make mistakes that will probably cost the Lakers games. Red Auerbach made mistakes that cost the Celtics games in his first year. I didn't see it, but I guarantee you, because it happens to every coach. But what you've seen with JJ is an incredibly high work ethic, an incredibly high intellect, definitely a feel for the modern version of the game. This is a guy who is a former player who embraces analytics and the new style. That's not a combination you see often. And I think the most important thing that he could probably bring is that he has LeBron James' respect walking in the door.
Sure.
You said he had 5 rookie head coaches. Well, not all of them were created equal. I don't think David Blatt, as decorated as he was in Europe, ever had a chance from day one with LeBron. And I think Ty Lue came in on day one and instantaneously had LeBron's respect. In the NBA, if you don't have your stars' respect, I don't care if you are the greatest coach in the history of the sport, you will not succeed. So JJ is going to have that. And he has laid the groundwork to do it, whether he was doing it knowing so when he did this podcast or not, he's got it. And so that gives him a chance. That, and I think he really wants this job, really, really wants to succeed at this job. This is not something he's trying out. He wants it. He's going to be tactically excellent. He's got some ideas for how to improve them, and he's going to deploy them, and we'll see. High risk, high reward.
Brian Windhorst points out a few things that we're going to talk about, not an even playing field, because you also brought up Monty Williams, and we're going to get to Monty Williams. But Brian Windhorst, and what I think is sort of a defense to the potential hire of JJ Redick, says he has great work ethic, high basketball intellect. He embraces the analytics. And it just seems, and I don't think this was his goal in doing it, but man, it seems as though there's a lot of like covert code words in there that when flipped have been used against black candidates. Nobody who is signing up to be an NBA head coach is doing so without work ethic. You don't get to show up like me as an AAU coach on the weekends and devise a plan. Nobody is showing up to an NBA head coaching interview without high basketball intellect. And by identifying these things as qualities that stand out for JJ Redick, can one infer that you're saying that other candidates and other coaches don't have those things? Or is it the only thing that you have to point out because he doesn't have a coaching resume?
I'm going to say the latter. I'm going to say 2 things. One, he's a member of the media that switched over. They take care of their own, right?
He's a newer member of the media too. He's not a veteran member of the media.
No, but I'm saying one of their guys got an opportunity, and Windhorst probably likes him. But I mean, I don't know. Before I start jumping there, you think LeBron's had this is his 5th, or he's already had 5 first time?
I think this will be his 5th.
Okay,
coach
three of them were black.
No
and Spoelstra's not. Oh, is he Hispanic? He's not white, is he?
I don't know what Spoelstra is.
I don't think he's white though. But anyway, so 3 of them have been black. So other guys have had first time head coaching jobs with them. So I'm not going to jump there. I mean, in the end of the day, LeBron is definitely not. First of all, for them to start off by saying he had nothing to do with the hires is absolutely idiotic. That's not true at all. But LeBron's definitely not going to given preference and bias chances to people that he doesn't respect and love. So I would think in this situation, they hired him with LeBron's blessing. So, I don't know. When they tried to hire a veteran guy that didn't want the job, I don't know who else really got consideration for it. So I'm not going to really go there.
Is there anybody that gets consideration for it if we see in the podcast when JJ Redick interviews LeBron James that they have a sort of a love fest for one another? And I'm not trying to put any extra spin on that, but you could tell they like each other. You could tell JJ Redick respects him. Did anybody else really have a legitimate shot?
I mean, they poked it around again. JJ Redick was in the mix 3 weeks ago, and then
Should
he wasn't.
ever have been in the mix? And look, I'm not here to make it all about LeBron. This is not a LeBron bashing thing.
I'm going to argue that LeBron put him in the mix. I'm arguing that they don't interview him if LeBron doesn't say put him in the mix. Like LeBron had to say, man, talk to JJ. See what JJ's talking about. I bet he could do this. LeBron's the head coach. Let's just call it. LeBron is the head coach, and then whoever's in there getting a check. That's the reason why nobody wants to. No veteran coach wants.
Can they win under the circumstances?
No.
Because at this point,
they can't
you got
win
your
with this
friend
team anyway.
in the job. He's
Lakers
got
are done.
the seat.
They got to get a new team, and it's a shame because
They've got two of the top 75 players of all time. The 75th anniversary, the Lakers had 2. The Celtics had 0. The Celtics just hung up another banner. The Lakers seem so far away from that. And if we're going to give LeBron the credit that he so richly deserves at, the right young age of 103, however old he is now, taking care of his body and maintaining that same edge to him as a player on the court, then we've also got to hold him accountable. When you say that JJ Redick wouldn't even be in the discussion if it is not for the relationship LeBron has with him. Brian Windhorst said something very similar, that LeBron has to like you, essentially, in order to even be considered. But he said veteran players more broadly. But now we're at this point where we should be having the discussion of what role players should play in both hiring and firing coaches. Is this the right role, LeBron? Because LeBron has shown that he's everything excellent on the court. I would argue he's shown just as much how poorly he conducts GM-like activities. He's not very good at it.
You can't do it twice. He did it in Miami, but he can't do it again.
He didn't do nothing in Miami. He had Pat Riley in Miami.
You don't think LeBron had anything to do with that?
I don't think Pat Riley. That was the challenge. Is that Pat Riley was thinking, look, when we compare resumes, when it comes to these executive decisions, LeBron,
I do this. Yeah.
I do this. This is what I do. So I don't think he had near the type of cachet and pull and influence.
Which is probably why he left. I think we're going to find out when they write the book of LeBron when it's over that it's hard to work with. And I'm just being honest. He's hard to work with guy.
Which is fine. Mike was hard to work with.
Yeah,
we've seen that, right? Scottie Pippen.
Like why it didn't work out in Miami anymore after such a short period of time and such a great amount of success. Why he felt the need to break that party up. Something to that. Like why? What wasn't going right in Miami? You won 2 of the 4 years you were there, right? You won.
They won 2 of the 4. They made it to the finals every year. They were at 4 of the 4 in terms of making to the finals, 2 of the 4 in terms of winning the finals.
And you can't somehow we weren't able to make that work. So somehow we felt we needed the party had to cut the lights on and unplug it. 2 of the songs people weren't dancing. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So I love LeBron, big fan of LeBron, but something's about it's something to that. So JJ Redick, hey, he probably paying tithes of 10% to LeBron's church and whatever.
Maybe I asked the audience, weigh in. Do you think this ends well? Does this marriage end well? JJ Redick comes straight out of the broadcasting chair where he's calling games. He's out of the studio chair where he's on TV. He's out of the podcast chair where he gets to interview guys like LeBron. Yes, he's a point guard. Yes, he had a very long and mostly successful career in terms of what he was asked to do. Yes, his analysis has been in depth. But no, he has not coached. Do you think it works out? Point guards seem to be more capable of going into a head coaching role and it works out. Does this work?
I think the
LA Lakers hiring JJ Redick doesn't work. I want to also, audience, please, by way of comments, let us know if you think that works out. I'll give you final word on it. Because
I
we
think it's
got to
well
turn to
beyond
the other
just the
side.
JJ
East
Redick
Coast.
hire. It's well beyond the JJ Redick hire at this point. I think that the guard has been officially passed in the NBA this season, if it's indicative at all about the status of the NBA. These new teams, these new young talents, the furthest, all the older heads, all the GOAT guys were at home early. You had Splash Brothers were home. You had KD at home. You had LeBron at home. You had Westbrook and Kawhi and all those guys at home. All the guys that have kind of been around for a while, they all were home. I think we're changing of the guard. I think that right now LeBron's at a stage in his career that he can either go join with some of the young guys and hopefully not ruin their chemistry, because that's what's hidden right now, or whatever. But I think the Lakers, as we see it with this cast of characters, I think they've just run their course. They're just not playing today's basketball. And so
If that happens,
regardless of the coach,
if that happens, that LeBron is undeniably influential in getting JJ Redick hired, Lakers fans will hate him forever.
Yeah.
They'll hate him forever because it becomes beyond just a rebuild at that point. It's almost a complete restructuring. You don't want to be at a point where you got to restructure everything that you're doing. And they're getting dangerously close, because if the Lakers use any of their draft pick to bring Bronny in and then use any of their roster spots to keep Bronny on the team in order to check the box and say LeBron James played with his son, Bronny James, you can guarantee that is some of the second round picks pan out to be great role players in the playoffs. You can't just use one of those draft picks in order to keep this fairy tale story going. But
if Bronny ends up on the Lakers, we know for a fact LeBron hired JJ Redick. Let's just say that.
I think that we're getting, it seems as inevitable as possible. Let's turn to the other side of the equation. When we come to this fork in the road, and we talk about two of the most storied programs and franchises in the NBA. On the West Coast, while my man Kendrick, One West, did his thing, baby. I mean, finish him. He's in that mode right now when it comes to Drake. Representing the West, baby. In basketball terms, the West is struggling. The Celtics, on the other hand, have now raised another banner. They're 18th. 18th banner. In terms of franchises, you got the Celtics with 18 banners raised, championships. The Lakers with 17. The next most banners, you drop it all the way down to 7 with Golden State. So those are the two programs. West Coast, East Coast. When I look at the East Coast, they're in a much better position. You got two young superstars, one of which won the MVP, one of which did not. We'll talk about that. But a very young coach. Hats off to the victors. Salute to the Celtics. Wasn't much of a series. Your quick take on the series, where Jason Tatum is in his career, and then we'll move on. But how dare we not at least acknowledge the Celtics? Our man ETP is not here today, but always here. Beantown represent. Let's make sure we give them their flowers now. What do you think about the Celtics hanging another banner? Two young superstars with a phenomenal Drew Holiday and Devin White. They've got all of these, Derek White, with all of these role players doing their job without Kristaps Porzingis being healthy. Where do you see the Celtics from here? Is it the new version of a young dynasty?
They got a squad. I mean, Tatum was great in the end. The craziest part was as dominant as they were this season. I feel like Tatum still has a lot of room to grow. I feel like he at times, for stretches of the series, kind of disappeared. And I don't know if that's his genius or if it's the just maturation that needs to happen some more. But Porzingis comes in and starts dropping 20. He never played really healthy. He gave you 20 points his first game in. That's scary. What's the guy that you just mentioned? The guy that shaved his head? Derek White. He's a fantastic role player. I mean, defensively, offensively, he just steps up and he gives you a lot. Then you got Brown and Tatum.
Yeah,
Drew
you still
Holiday.
you got Drew Holiday, who played amazing. You still
They're
got
pretty good
Al
basketball
Horford,
team,
who's
man.
137 years
Horford.
old.
Yeah, he's the elder statesman, but he still gave you buckets when you needed them. They're a good basketball team. I think they're really good. I don't know. The state of the NBA right now is, I think, the best it's ever been. If I'm being honest, it's the best it's ever been. We had no idea who's going to come out the West. We had no idea that it was going to be Dallas. There's so many teams that was there. There's so many. If someone would have told me that we would have lost the 5 or I don't know, maybe 10, I don't know, 5 or 10 most popular people of the last decade in the NBA in the playoffs, and still had a gang of stars that was out there, and great games and great performances and just great sub stories, I would have told you you're crazy. But I mean, people watching Ant-Man play, people here watching, obviously the Joker's still doing what he's supposed to do, but then he gets taken out. It just so much talent, and there's so many stars there's so many franchises that have a lot to look forward to. It's not just a two-team race like it's been a lot of times, or a 3-team race. I mean, everybody in the West has to be thinking we're one roster move away from being on top. Everybody in the West, right? Everybody in the playoff West, I should say. They had to be thinking they're one roster move away, and they'd have been fine. The East, maybe it's a little bit more tough, in the East, trying to figure out who's going to compete. But there's just so many. You still got the Sixers. There's so many people in so many markets are doing well. It's the best the NBA's been in.
We've heard over the last several days people praising. We'll get to it. No, let's get to that now, and then I'll talk about Joe Mazzulla, the young head coach. Jason Tatum has been clowned over the last several days. He's a little different, a little unique, but people have clowned him for saying he tried to emulate so many championship moments all in one. They said he stole the Kobe Bryant picture with crying next to the trophy. He said anything is possible. He stole the Kevin Garnett. They were just talking about how that's unoriginal he is.
LeBron, anything's possible.
Say again?
Anything possible is LeBron.
Anything possible was Kevin Garnett first.
Oh, was it him? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but they're clowning Jason Tatum by just saying he lacks originality. He's a cornball. He's this. He's that.
He has bangs. He has bangs.
All of the things that they clown him about. But in game number 6, in game 5, it never went to 6. In game 5, he took over at a time where they needed points. He is the only person to ever lead in every statistical category, yet not win the MVP.
I know.
And Jaylen Brown had a great series as well.
He did.
But statistically, it was less impressive than Jason Tatum. People have argued because of his defensive prowess at times on Luka and the role he played in spots that don't necessarily get captured in the statistical analysis.
And if you allow me to tell the stats really quick, it was 22.2 points for Tatum, 20.8 points for Brown, 7.8 rebounds for Tatum, 5.4 rebounds for Brown, 7.2 assists for Tatum, and 5 assists for Brown. That's pretty much. I played better than you.
Normally, is there something about Jason Tatum? It's not an even playing field because people come in not liking him. You don't get to make it to the finals all the time. You definitely don't get to lead in statistical categories all the time. So this was a perfect opportunity to win the finals MVP that has escaped him. Do you think it's just because we go in not liking the brother?
I mean, full disclosure, I had $100 on Brown to be the MVP, so I think they got it right. But also, full disclosure, I changed the channel at the end of the game because I thought for sure Tatum had won the championship after that game 5.
Won the MVP. You thought he had won the MVP.
I mean, sorry, the MVP, sorry. After I thought he won the MVP, so I changed because I didn't want to watch him take my money away. It wasn't until later when I read the article saying that he was the only person to do this, and not win. I went nuts. I was so excited because I got my money. But I don't know what it is about Tatum. He seems likable enough. He's not cocky. He is a little corny, but so is Klay Thompson. People like him. He's corny as hell. I I don't really understand what it is about Tatum. He's got a great relationship with his mother. I mean, she does put him on an allowance, and he makes millions of dollars, and he only gets a certain amount of brotherly spread. But leave that man alone, man. They make it seem like this is his 6th year in the NBA and he wins a championship. They make it seem like he's just never going to get there. LeBron and Jordan both took 7 and 8 years respectively, or the other way around. This man won in his 6th year. Give him a break. I don't know why they don't like Tatum. He has had a good team though.
I thought he should have won the MVP just because of the stats. I mean, stats don't lie, right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. But in this case, the numbers lie. The numbers will tell you, and the history will tell you that Jason Tatum, when you look on paper, having led in each one of those statistical categories, won the MVP. But indeed, he did not. There's been much made about nothing, is essentially about their relationship. People have said that they don't necessarily like each other. I thought Jaylen Brown's acceptance speech of the finals MVP, where he said we should have split it and given it to Jason Tatum, was an amazing moment of selflessness.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to be honest, man, I found myself wondering, and it's hypothetical, but hypothetically, if the shoe was on the other foot, I just couldn't see Jason Tatum making the same statement about Jaylen Brown.
Well, he beat him in every category, so he shouldn't say it.
So you think the voters they based it on something? I think they based it on the defensive prowess, which we have shown through Andre Iguodala, that people acknowledge what you do on the defensive end. Iguodala won the MVP in that Golden State Warriors championship because of what he did defensively against LeBron. Now you get to the point where Jaylen Brown is cooking offensively and being a stellar defensive player. So I wouldn't say it was completely without merit. I still would have given it to Jason Tatum. I don't know if Jason Tatum would have said that about Jaylen Brown if the shoe was on the other foot. And I think that's where the Jason Tatum story starts to get a little interesting.
I didn't think Jason Tatum it didn't feel like he was having a championship or MVP series until the last game. And then
because he never took over any games.
Yeah, but he took over
their biggest shot in game 3 was made by Jaylen Brown. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The most pivotal game, they're up 2. They need a shot late. Dallas roars back, about to take the lead. When Luka fouls out, Jaylen Brown hits a shot that is essentially the dagger, not only in that game, but the dagger in the series, because that puts you up 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really point to Jason Tatum moments like that in the series.
No, it's like he was padding stats in the last game. He was taking a lot of shots, trying to get his points up. It looked to me he was trying to get the MVP in the last game. So I think people looked at that and was like, wah, wah. And then my man said Brown was caught on Mike saying, if Luka stays in, keep me in. You know what I mean? But I'll stay in and cover him, whatever, to the end. That's kind of boss type stuff. Like, I don't want to come out until they throw the towel in. So who knows?
I'm happy for Jaylen Brown, because I was one of the people who was like, man, why are they paying him all that money? He's not the best on his team. But best is a very fluid definition. The best is a subjective measure of what you see. So I think I just talked myself out of my initial position that Jason Tatum should have won it. Jaylen Brown should have won that MVP. Good job, voters. We'll see.
I agree. I want some money. I agree.
Money aside, we have celebrated Jason Tatum. We have talked about Jaylen Brown. What we have not talked about is Joe Mazzulo's ability to come in and take over, where it was a Ume Udoka created a vacancy for all the wrong reasons. Joe Mazzulla has never really gotten credit for leading the team, so it seems. Young man, 35 years old. How do you think Joe Mazzulla goes down in the history of Celtics coaches? He's going to be mentioned with Red Auerbach.
You got to win at least 2 or 3 more. At least one. Wow, you got to be a multiple winner to be considered with the Celtics. And they're. I mean, he won a championship, so his name's going to be there. But I don't know. He's not a huge personality guy right now. He's kind of a quiet guy, so he's going to have to do it all on a resume, and so he's not going to be remembered. People are going to say, "What was that guy's name?" If he doesn't win at least one or two more.
And I guess I'm just asking, is that fair? Here's a young, looks black, or he's got some ethnicity in him. Coach Mazzullo, I'm assuming there's some Hispanic heritage there.
Yeah.
Who won a championship, bro. You're raising a banner in the rafters for the Boston Celtics.
Did you see his resume though? Where he coached before? He coached the Maine Mud Hens or something. Like he's never coached. This is like his only coaching job he's had that was not complete trash.
He was a great player for West Virginia too, though. So it's not.
I'm just saying his coaching resume are schools you've never heard of. So I just said them.
Fair.
You couldn't tell me their mascot. So he's like an unassuming guy. He carries himself kind of like an AAU coach when you see him after the things. Like he almost seems surprised to be there when he does his interviews. So I'm saying is he's not a big personality guy. He's going to have to win one more championship. They win two in a row.
He's got a championship under his belt. I don't see them changing the coaching.
No way. Yeah, he
situation anytime soon. If we're saying that it's going to be a dynasty with this young, very talent-rich team, then this is the man who's going to lead the dynasty. I just feel like we should have gave him more credit. Joe Mazzullo throughout all of the coverage before the finals, during the finals, and since the finals seems to be an afterthought as we talk about this young Celtics team raising another banner. And I'm not certain that's fair.
Yeah.
There's several coaches that have fumbled the bag when it comes to talented teams, not being able to get them in position to win. You might argue he did just enough. You might argue that they won in lieu of and despite of Coach Joe Mazzullo, some of the substitution decisions that he made, and it had been questioned with some of the after timeout decisions that he has made. But they won the world championship.
Mm-hmm.
I feel is a bit discrediting, especially if we're going to compare it to JJ Redick, who's never coached before, getting the Lakers job. Especially if we're going to compare it to Monty Williams. Monty Williams just got fired after 1 year. The owner brings him in, tells him he wants to help. He needs Monty to help him rebuild. After he was fired by the Suns, which people question why would the Suns fire him in that moment. The owner courts Monty Williams to come to Detroit. Monty had planned to take the year off because his wife had just been diagnosed with breast cancer. The owner makes an offer that Monty cannot refuse to the tune of 6 years, $78 million. I am not going to defend what we saw on the court because the Detroit Pistons broke the record for consecutive losses with 28 straight losses. So I can't defend that.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, why is the leash so short? 1 year for the youngest roster in the NBA, for the man that you courted to come over despite real concerns. This is his second wife. His first wife was killed in a car accident. His second wife is now diagnosed with breast cancer. And you give him 1 year. You bring in Trajan Langdon, a new GM. They're having great conversations. It seems as though they're building. And voila, he's gone. And while I hate making it just about black and white, how dare we not point out this is happening in the same week that JJ Redick, a young white point guard who never coached anybody, is about to get the keys to the kingdom of the LA Lakers. Now, Monty's getting paid $65 million to not coach.
$5 million.
$65 million.
Go home and make sure your wife is okay.
So I'm not saying this to feel sorry for Monty's pockets, because Monty gonna be all right. And maybe he never coaches again. I'm bringing up Monty Williams to have a better conversation, broader conversation about whether or not it's an even playing field.
I don't know. That $65 million makes things seem kind of okay to me. It seems
Fire Reece
okay.
$65 million, right?
I think he'll be all right. Monty gonna be all right. It's good. Monty, spend time with your family, man. It's tough. You got a sick wife. I think she actually is in remission. Hopefully she's beating it. You lost your first wife. I know that's got to be tough. Maybe you are distracted. Maybe that's what's going on. I mean, the Detroit Pistons were god awful this year, but they were awful. That's why they had the first pick in the draft. But hey, if you decide you don't want me to do the show anymore, man, for $30 million, you can get rid of me. So I don't know. I don't go around feeling sorry for people that make $65 million in one day. That's just me.
I gotta give you that. But right.
I don't think he said. I don't think he cried when they fired him.
But direct question. We're not feeling sorry for Monty Williams. Educated, great man, philanthropist, one that has been recognized in circles outside of just basketball as a humanitarian. He's gonna be fine. So we're not crying for Monty, but what Monty represents: Black coaches trying to find some level of security in the NBA versus white coaches like JJ Redick, from a resume standpoint, pales in comparison, coaching-wise, who is now getting the opportunity of all opportunities.
Of all the professional sports, do you feel like the NBA has a black coach problem? A lot of black coaches in the NBA. And Ben having coaches. I mean, shit.
I don't think that they have I think the NBA has no problem giving a black coach the title, but I think the job security in that title, in this episode of Not an Even Playing Field, it's not an even playing field when it comes to the security of that job. And it's not an even playing field when it comes to respecting the resume that was created by that coach. Right? Brian Windhorst went on and on about JJ Redick's work ethic and basketball IQ. Sometimes, man, that's dog whistle language for black folk don't work hard. And they're just not smart. And I know Brian Windhorst was not talking about any other coaches. He was talking about JJ Redick, but in the spirit of this moment and us talking about an even playing field, I think that's the discrepancy in the NBA. Whether it be Darwin Ham, whether it be Monty Williams, whether it be you go down the list of guys, hell, even Jason Kidd, right? Jock Vaughn, you go down the list of guys that have gotten an opportunity, done good things with that opportunity, and how that opportunity, what they did with it, either helps build their resume for other opportunities and creates job security or not. And it's seen with a lot of brothers, it just doesn't do much for job security. I think that's where the NBA's problem is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. The NBA has had a lot of black coaches. Even Boston Celtics, which, we consider the most racist town in America, had a black head coach before anybody else, right? I think they've done a better job with black issues than any other professional sports. I think the players have more of a voice in that league than any other league, which is predominantly played by blacks. I think, Windhorst, where he loved and admired JJ Redick in his snapshot of his job. He also was super critical and berated Luka for how he played and how horrible he was. So I don't know enough about Windhorst to really look at his record, but I felt like it was an opportunity for him to make excuses for Luka. He didn't put any of that blame on Kyrie. He went all over Luka. So I don't know. Believe me, I speak up for black causes as much as I can and as much as possible. I just want to be fair. I don't know. JJ Redick was some. I'm not gonna pull a race card on this one. I just feel like it's a dude who's not qualified that LeBron wanted, and if LeBron didn't want him, he wouldn't be there. So if LeBron is the last guy that you would look at and say, trying to give more opportunities to white people than black people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, I think
he at least blessed it. He at least
blessed it.
blessed it.
And Brian Windhorst pointed out that LeBron's role in it matters. And he even said the NBA veterans. So I acknowledge that part. But when it comes to inexplicable situations, right? Like,
but why is Missoula not inexplicable? He coached at the Maine Mud Hens.
I mean, that was a unique situation because it made Udoka had
Oh yeah,
right?
he got promoted. Is that what it was?
He had that was a tough situation.
Got it.
That happened in the off cycle when he was fired, when all that stuff
and then
was
they did well,
involved,
so then they kept him. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, that's the only reason why his opportunity came about. Now he's done well with his opportunity, but again, like I talked about in the previous segment, he doesn't get a lot of respect. There are inexplicable things that are going on with some black coaches, like Mark Jackson. How the hell is Mark Jackson not a coach with what he had created in Golden State? We're celebrating the foundation that Mark Jackson essentially created as a coach and never mentioning Mark Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
There's some inexplicable things that happen with black coaches that don't seem to happen with white coaches in the NBA. That's where I think the NBA's problem is job security. And when it's all said and done, whether or not that coach garners the respect for his accomplishments. And that's where I think their challenge is. But to be fair, you're right. A lot of people have at least been hired. It's not about the hiring. It's about the protection, job security, and the legacy that these coaches seem to create or not for themselves. That's where I would say the NBA's problem is. I'll give you last word on it, man, before we hop on.
I mean, good luck to JJ. I want to see the Lakers do well. I think that they need more than a coach to do something, unless they're going to get Popovich or somebody who's like a veteran or something, like who's done great things. LeBron has never really allowed a coach to come in and really add to the equation much. So I put it mostly on that higher on LeBron. Maybe the fact that other people don't want to coach him or something. There's got to be something to it. I just got to be honest as a LeBron fan, even though I am one, that there has to be something to it there. And they got the coach that LeBron wanted or deserved, or however you want to put it.
Let's give credit. The WNBA is in full swing, and it is exciting basketball. If you haven't checked it out, check it out now. Angel Reece just broke the record for 7 straight double-doubles. And in the midst of that, people have said, of course, she get all these double-doubles because she keep missing layups and getting her own rebound. So they're saying it's not an even playing field. Her stats don't represent the success that you might think that they do without watching the games. When you watch the games, people are saying that all her missed layups lead to her double-doubles. What say you?
I think it's fair. I've seen it. I've seen the examples where she's missed 2 or 3 times in a row, and they can say, well, at least she's got such good position, she got it back. But you got to miss pretty bad to the rebound to come right back to you. You know what I mean? Like you hit the bottom of the rim, and it comes right back down to you in that perfect box out position that you have. So I don't know. That does put a little suspect in there. I think it's whatever. But hats off to her. She's making a splash in the WNBA. She's making it, more exciting. So it's not just a runaway with Caitlin Clark. They're keeping their feud going from a statistical or relevant standpoint. She probably needs to shut up a little bit in what she's saying. Like, I think she's a little bit over her skis when she talks about, everyone's coming out. This isn't just the Caitlin Clark show. They're coming to see me too. Not really. Not really happening.
They're out, though. You look at all the numbers. They're out. She's got a point. She was saying that she was the catalyst behind that. For every good, there's got to be evil. She was a part of the saga that drew so many additional fans into women's basketball. That's what she was saying. You could agree or disagree with that. But
I mean, I agree. They beat her. I mean, they won the championship, and she made herself with the "You Can't See Me." She made herself real popular in that stuff, and she's a good basketball player. But. And she should talk crap. I mean, you're an athlete. You should say that I'm the draw. I'm the big ticket. But she's not. I disagree. Caitlin's the big ticket. Although I watched Caitlin play, she wasn't being ball dominant. I watched her play the Mystics the other day. She wasn't being ball dominant. She She took her fair share of threes, but she wasn't doing it like she was in college. She's playing differently. She's playing within herself, and I think that someone probably grabbed her by the jersey and told her, "Relax."
It is interesting because people saying she pads her own stats with the missed layups. In the same week that the report came out and said that in MJ's Defensive Player of the Year award season, that they've gone back and watched some of the games, and it looks like with felonious stats there, fictitious stats. NBA
I
said they are
saw
not
one
going to
thing that
conduct
looked
a
kind of
review of it,
inexplicable. They said that the Bulls had 59 steals in a 6-game stretch where the opposing team only recorded 41 turnovers. I said, man, you couldn't be in the drug business. You got to have, you know what I'm saying? You got to watch.
Now, some of that is, right, whether or not a team defines it as a turnover or not. So there's a little bit of gray area in there.
18 is a pretty big discrepancy.
18 is a big number. That doesn't seem like a rounding error.
That's close to 50% of the time you thought it was a rebound, or you thought it was a assist, but it was a missed shot. Like, come on, man.
It is a lot.
Every benefit. That's a lot.
The NBA says they will not conduct any sort of review
No
of
upside.
this.
No
But
upside.
it just leads to more of the conversation about who's the GOAT and what we use as our reasoning behind that. Interesting stuff. But Angel Reece, keep balling out. I did want to mention, man, because no team, my Florida Panthers, and I say that tongue-in-cheek because not really a big NHL fan. I'm in good company when it comes to brothers. But whenever the Panthers are balling, baby, in Florida, we watching those NHL games. I got a chance to be down there last week. We watching, baby. We watching the Stanley Cup. No team has ever come back in basketball, but in NHL, only one team has come back. 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs came back after falling behind 3-0. The Oilers are gunning to be the second team to do that. Hopefully the Panthers can hold them off and hold up that Stanley Cup. Have you watched any of the hockey, man? I know you talked about like lighting up the puck.
I watched it. There was a really great shot and somebody made a save. Last night, I think they played, right?
It wasn't last night. It was 2 nights ago.
But there was a great save. I saw the end of the game to watch it when the Oilers came back and won. I'm headed down there for my mom. Shout out to my mom turning 80.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Throwing her birthday party tomorrow. So they live about half a mile away from the Panthers.
I guess y'all opted not to surprise her because you just said you're going down there.
She ain't watching the show anyway, but yeah, she didn't no surprise with her. So Mom Dukes done picked it all out. But that's good because she's got great taste. But they live half a mile from the stadium. So if the game is tonight or tomorrow, I'm gonna get some of that energy up in me.
There you go.
I'm gonna see what's going on. They're gonna have a parade around the mall. Everybody by the Sawgrass Mall. They're gonna be riding around. Beep, 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 beep,
there you go. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
I'll try.
And everybody enjoy what should be hopefully the last game of this Stanley Cup Finals. And then we don't have a ball hog spotlight moment, but in this episode of Not an Even Playing Field, we wanted to both recognize and give a very brief moment of silence. And as I set up the moment of silence, talk about Willie Mays. Willie Mays during his era, which is interesting because we hear a lot of conversation about it now, was, I won't say there were detractors, but people thought he wasn't doing enough for civil rights issues. And there was an article recently that came out and talked about, like, during that era, you didn't have a choice but to address the injustices of Jim Crow laws. You didn't have a choice whether or not to address the racism that you would face on a nightly basis while playing baseball. And for those who had an issue with whether or not they felt like he did enough or not, they can't deny at least that. And Willie Mays, after playing in the Negro League, came over to Major League Baseball and did wonderful things. He is, I think, or was, as he just passed, He was a symbol for what it means to be in the throes of racism, to be in the throes of unjust behavior, and still go out there and do your job in an amazing fashion, unapologetically and successfully, as he thrived under those really tough circumstances. For that and so much more, all of the amazing accomplishments on the baseball field, we salute Willie Mays for a life well lived. He died at the age of 93. He represents so much more than just an MLB player for so many Black families, and for America as a whole, and trying to grow and mature and be fair in our treatment of humans. So let's take a brief moment of silence for Willie Mays. And with that, man, any parting words as we get ready for the weekend, my good brother?
No, we're going into that dead period. Thank God the Olympics are coming on this summer. We're going to that dead baseball period where it's like there's less to talk about. But the Olympics is one of my favorite time of every 4 years. Unfortunately, we got to deal with the damn election the same year. I hate that, but I love the Olympics. I love watching. I can't wait to see all the track. I don't know what your favorite Olympic event is, but track's gonna be good for sure. I like watching that. I watch a little bit of the basketball, but not that much. We'll see what's going on. So I'm excited about it. Just enjoy the rest of the summer. Again, today's the longest day of the year. Enjoy it. Get shorter every day from now.
Shout out to James Wells, man. That'll be my ball hawk spotlight at least mentioned. James Wells made us all look bad, fellas, because just moments after the swimmer, you mentioned the Olympics, made me think of it. Lily King, she qualified yesterday for her second race for the Paris Olympics. She gets out of the pool. Her long-term boyfriend, James Wells, gets down on his knee and popped the question in front of all of the world to see and made us all look bad. So thank you, James Wells, for an amazing, amazing proposal that made us all look a little bit short when it comes to James Wells. Not even playing field, man. He had an Olympic audience. That ain't fair.
She made everybody look bad too, because how many women could say I just qualified for the Olympics before I got engaged? So
before I got engaged, what's your engagement story? I'll qualify for the Olympics.
I would have loved to propose to my wife while she qualified for the Olympics. She just didn't qualify, man. So I had to wait for another opportunity.
Ain't too late. Ain't too late. Wake her up. Let's get to training. Let's get to training.
Get to training.
It's been an amazing show. It is the not an even playing field episode of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. It's where a few businessmen get together and discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. Please, 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 because it won't cost you anything, do any of the following, or maybe all of the following. You can like, comment, share. You can tag a friend, you can tag a foe, you can tag anyone that you know, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. It's been an amazing show. Been an amazing Friday. Summer is grooving. The sports are bubbling. Make sure that you tune in as the Olympics takes off. It's going to be a phenomenal Olympic year in Paris, and we'll be covering it here on the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. With no further ado, boys and girls, cats and rats, dogs and frogs, enjoy your weekend. This has been the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We do it one way only, rough, rugged, and raw. A labor of love. Please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone you know, and subscribe. YouTube channel and podcast. With that,
let me say one more before we leave. Hey, if anybody commented this week, we didn't see them. So we didn't ignore your comments. Normally we do speak about comments, but they weren't showing up this week. I haven't seen any comments. So
technical difficulties sometimes.
Technical difficulties, something's going on, but we didn't see them. We weren't ignoring you guys. So I apologize if you guys have been commenting and we ignored you.
And with that, we is out. Peace.